we're on 2 Samuel and chapter 11. And it came to pass after the years were expired at the time when kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servant with them, and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon, and besieged Ramoth. And David tarried still at Jerusalem. In other words, he didn't go to battle. And it came to pass in an eveningtide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house, and from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. We know where this is going. And David sent and inquired after the woman. And one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he laid with her, and she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. Okay. David, you did wrong. Of course, we know that. But I want you to see how they worded it. He laid with her. All right, we call it, and he slept with her. He had sex with her. Okay? So, hey, look, man. We have dirty words in here. The woman conceived and sent and told David and said, I am with child. And David sent to Joab, saying, Send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. And David said to Uriah, Go down to thy house, and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king. So he gave him a bunch of meat too and stuff. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house, all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, Comest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go into thine house? And Uriah said unto David, The ark and Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in an open field. Shall I then go into my house, and eat and drink, and to lie with my wife, as though thou livest, and as thy soul liveth, I will not do this thing. See, it made him feel bad because everybody else was not. If people would see and have feelings for other people, I mean, this is what you call a good person, because he was thinking of others. They're not having it good. Why should I have it good? All right. And David said unto Uriah, Tarry here today also, and tomorrow I will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow. And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk. And at the evening he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his lord, but went not down to his house. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab, and sent it by the hand of Uriah. And he wrote in the letter, saying, Set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die. Now that is most definitely mean, David. And it came to pass, when Joab served the city, that he assigned Uriah into a place where he knew that the violent men were. And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab. And there fell some of the people of the servant of David, and Uriah the Hittite died also. And Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war. 19. And charged the messenger, saying, that when thou hast made an end of telling the matter of the war unto the king, and if so be that the king's wrath arise, and he say unto thee, wherefore approach ye so nigh unto the city when he did fight? Know ye not that they would shoot from the wall? Who smote Abimelech, the son of Jerubbesheth? Did not a woman cast a piece of a millstone upon him from the wall, and he died in Thebez? Why went ye nigh the wall? Then say thou, the servant of Uriah the Hittite is dead also. So the messenger went and came and showed David all that Joab had sent for him. And the messenger said unto David, surely the men prevailed against us, and came out unto us unto the field, and we were upon them, even unto the entering of the gate. And the shooters shot from off the wall upon the servants, and from of the king's servants be dead, and thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. Then David said unto the messenger, thus shalt thou say. Okay, now see, this is what I'm talking about. You hear it twice. And remember, we heard it and then we heard it again. Let not this thing displease thee, for this sword devoureth one as well as another. Maketh thy battle more stronger against the city, and overthrow it, and encourage thou him. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah her husband was dead, she mourned for her husband. And when the mourning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife, and bore him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord. Number 12. Now, I have to say, David shouldn't have done that. Alright, number 12. And the Lord sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him, and said unto him, there is two men in one city, the one rich, and the other poor. The rich man has exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man hath nothing, save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nurtured up, and grew up together with him, and with his children, and did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and laid in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd, to dress for a wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb, and dressed it for the man that was come to him. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and said unto Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die, and he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. And Nathan said unto David, thou art the man. Thus saith the Lord of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel. I delivered thee out of the hands of Saul, and I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's wives, unto thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel, and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given thee such and such things. In other words, he had his wives plus Saul's wives. Why would he mess with poor little old Uriah's wife? Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord, and do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore, these swords shall never depart from thy house, because thou hast despised me, and thou hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor. And he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of the sun. Now this does happen, for thus dideth it secretly. But I will do this thing before all of Israel and before the sun. And this is S-U-N. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, The Lord also has put away thy sin, and thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed that thou hast given great occasion to the enemy of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. 15. And Nathan departed into his house, and the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bore unto David, and it was very sick. David therefore besought God for the child, and David fasted, and went in and laid all night upon the earth. And the elders of his house arose, and went to him to raise up from the earth, but he would not, neither did he eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the 7th day that the child died, and the servant of David feared to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spoke unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How will he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead? But when David saw that his servant whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servant, Is the child dead? And they said, He is dead. Then David arose from the earth, and washed and anointed himself, and changed his apparel, and came unto the house of the Lord and worshiped. Then he came to his own house, and when he required, he set bread before him, and he did eat. Then said his servants unto him, What thing is this that thou hast done, that thou didst fast and weep for the child while it was alive, but when the child was dead, thou didst rise and eat bread? And he said, While the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept, for I said, Who can tell whether God will be gracious to me that the child may live? But now he is dead. Wherefore shall I fast? Can I bring him back again? Or I shall go to him, and he shall not return to me. And David comforted Bathsheba his wife, and went in unto her, and laid with her. And she bore a son, and she called his name Solomon, and the Lord loved him. So they had another kid. Alright. And he sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet, and he called his name Jedediah. And he calls of the Lord. And Jacob fought against Rabah, the children of Ammon, and took the royal city. And Joab sent messengers to David and said, I have fought against Ramah, and I have taken the city of water. Now therefore, gather the rest of the people together, and encamp against the city, and take it. Lest I take the city, and it be called after my name. And David gathered all the people together, and went to Ramah, and fought against it, and took it. And he took their king's crown from off his head, and the weight thereof was a talent of gold, with the precious stone, and it was set on David's head. And he brought forth the spoils in the city great abundance. And he brought forth the people that were therein, and put them under saws, and under harrows of iron, and under axes of iron, and made them pass through the Bricklin. And this did he into all the cities of the children of Ammon. So David and all the people returned into Jerusalem. All right, now we're on 13, and we're going to do it tomorrow night. So I appreciate all y'all that listen. I love you. Hugs and kisses.